You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
I'm Stephen Cabral, and I'm looking forward to part 2 of our weekend host calls. So yesterday, we answered some great questions. Many of them came up for the very first times, things like adaptogens, some good insight into how I look at a case and really dissect it and figure out what needs to be done first. There are so many things that could be done, dozens of things, but what are the underlying root causes that if you fix that, everything else falls into place? So a lot of great questions. Do hope you tune into that show yesterday. And today we're going to get started on some brand new questions, as always, wellness, weight loss, anti-aging related. And the first one's coming in from Lindsey. I've been through some hormonal testing, she asks, which has now put me on the supplements below. Please, can you advise if I can take these supplements whilst I do the candida bacterial protocol? Please, can you advise if I can take other supplements like Maca Powder, acai powder, greens powder and flaxseed, Douglas Labs Ultra Preventive, B Complex, DHEA, Glutathione, and Zinc Picolinate, as well as some DIM. Okay, so Lindsey, you absolutely can. You can use all of those products except the Douglas Labs Preventative 3, which is simply a multivitamin. Why would you not take that? Well, because you're going to get your full multivitamin and mineral in your daily all-in-one shake, which we call the Daily Nutritional Support Shake, and that comes included with every single... Oh, I shouldn't say that. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the Dr. Ball Detox. You're talking about the Candida and Bacterial Protocol. So, yes, you will actually be able to take all of those. And then if you wanted to use our morning smoothie shake, the Daily Nutritional Support, you would then not have to take your multivitamin. That's the Ultra Preventative 3. So that is what I recommend, meaning like for the Candida protocol, I still recommend doing the smoothie in the morning. And the reason is I don't like you have to digest a lot of food when you're trying to rebuild your gut. I want it pre-digested in the morning. So if you're not going to do the smoothie, well, then I would do an oatmeal after the first 3 weeks, because that's when we start to add back in some of those gluten-free grains. So that's what I would recommend. The smoothie in the morning, use the Daily Nutritional Support powder. You can use our daily fruit and vegetable blend instead of the greens powder that you're using right now, and you're good to go. I mean, that would be great. So yes, all the products that you're taking are absolutely and totally fine to be taking with the Candida protocol. All very helpful. So great work. Keep on going strong. Julie's up next. Dear Dr. Brawl, my dad got a stage 3 melanoma diagnosis a couple of weeks ago. The doctors removed the tumor and one lymph node with a 1 millimeter metastasis. Now they want him to take interferon alpha for the next 18 months. Interferon has several side effects like flu-like symptoms, etc. From your naturopathic point of view, is there anything we can do to ease the side effects? And do you have any additional suggestions to support his body and immune system in healing? Thank you so much for all you do to help people. Best regards, Julie. Okay, Julie, yeah, we do a lot of cancer support in my practice, and I'm happy to help. So if possible, after he does the interferon, what I would then recommend, because he's going to be doing treatments of it, is it okay? Meaning like I would run this by, whenever I recommend, I'm going to give you some non-supplement recommendations as well, okay? So supplement recommendations would be vitamin C, extra glutathione, and zinc, and ideally glutamine. So, what do those things do? Well, what they're going to do is they're going to support your immune system from both really phase 1 and phase 2 perspectives. And I'm going to give you some more tips as well. But those are really what I would do. And then after, like when he's building up this in his system, so he's really starting to build up this particular drug, what I'm recommending is if it's allowable, if it's okay to do a Dr. Brawl detox, maybe it's every 6 weeks or so, a 7-day detox. That's going to fully support his liver and try to just remove a lot of these toxins from his body. You have to get the okay. But for the most part, it's usually fine to do. Okay, so now let's give you some daily things to do to ramp up from a non-nutritional supplement perspective, some treatments that we can do to naturally detoxify the body. Okay, here's exactly what I would do. I would wake up in the morning and I would make a nice, just a room temperature or warm glass of water. I would squeeze a full lemon or lime into it. And then I would add in the 1 tablespoon of the daily fruit and vegetable blend that we offer. What is that? It's 22 organic fruits and vegetables. Okay, that's what it is. So what he's getting now is the healing power of 22 organic fruits and vegetables, very high in phenols. I'll tell you right now, there's not a higher phenol, there's not a higher density product on the market right now. And I know this because as I was formulating this, I was looking at all the different products. I said, oh, this is great, this is great, this is great. But they all add inulin and they all add different types of fibers or maltodextrin to bulk up their product. So it actually looks like it's more than it is, but it's not. So this literally mixes with a spoon, very palatable, and your dad could even add in a little bit of raw honey. That would be totally fine as well. Okay, so I would start the day with that. Then what I would do is, if possible, you can actually purchase an infrared sauna for just a couple $100, so not one of the fancy ones if he doesn't have one. And before I do the infrared sauna, I would have your dad jump on a rebounder. And again, we have links for that on the Cabral concept, a rebounder. And I would do dry brushing. So before I got in the sauna, I would do that dry brushing. So basically, here's what I would do. Let me give it to you in order to make it simpler. Greens drink in the morning with extra lemon squeezed in there and some raw honey. And if he needs to, a little pomegranate juice or something like that to make it more palatable if your dad's just not used to that. Okay. Then I would dry brush, and that takes like 3 minutes. I would move the lymphatic system. After that, I would jump on the rebounder for 5 minutes. Then after that, I would do the infrared sauna. Okay. And I would just do this on a daily basis, 30 minutes in the infrared sauna. This whole routine might take 40 minutes. That's literally it. After that, he can get the shower. He can just wash off the toxins. That would be absolutely fantastic. And then maybe once a week, he could do a manual lymphatic massage. That would be fantastic. Make sure he starts to get into meditation, some deep belly breathing, maybe some hatha yoga. Think positive, laugh, enjoy life, stay positive. It's so very important. I'm telling you, that is one of the successful treatments for cancer, for all of these things, is to stay positive, enjoy life, know that this is just temporary. He's going to make it through. He's going to stay healthy, and this will help his body and prevent a lot of those toxicities from building up. So hopefully that helps. Thanks, Julie. Dee is up next. Dee is asking, hi, Dr. Ball. My husband and I finished your liver detox and are now on week 3 of the candida protocol. We had our blood work done last week and got the results today. Our white blood cells are low. Besides cancer, what could be the cause of this? We are getting another test in a few months to check our count again. Also, our vitamin D was low. We do have some of your D3. Should we be taking that along with the candida protocol? Thanks for your suggestions. Okay, so D, just, right there, your vitamin D being low can lead to a white blood cell count. I mean, that's a very simple one right there. So if your vitamin D levels, your 25 hydroxy vitamin D, is below 50 to 70, just look for the numbers 50 to 70 on your lab test, please take 5,000 IUs on a daily basis. Take it with breakfast or take it with lunch. I'd be taking a good multivitamin, like the activated multi, or I would take the daily nutritional support powder along with your candida protocol. That will make sure you're getting the magnesium, the other cofactors to get that vitamin D into the cells. Very, very important. You have to take a multivitamin or the all-in-one, the daily nutritional support. But what else could, meaning like if it's not that, what else could it be with a low white blood cell count? Okay. Very, very simple and straightforward. It could be a bacterial infection. So you might have an infection, okay? Your husband and wife, right? So you could have the infection together. Now, you could have a viral infection. Epstein-Barr virus, herpes virus that's become non-dormant. High levels of stress. Maybe you and your husband are going through high levels of stress right now. That can knock down your white blood cell count. Or a diet high in refined carbohydrates. Now, I know you haven't been on a diet high in refined carbohydrates, so we could pretty much slash that out. So what would I do? Okay, we're going to bump up that vitamin D. I would like you to take some extra zinc, 30 milligrams a day at night with dinner. And I would also take some glutamine. So to make things easier, since you're on the candida protocol, I would simply use the healthy gut support. I would use that powder that you can just take and put in your smoothie. 1 scoop, you can each do 1 scoop each, and that will give you the glutamine, that will give you the zinc, and it will give you a nice little bump in your immune system, but at the same time, sealing up your gut wall. At the end of the candida protocol, I recommend using that powder anyways, so why not just use it now? I mean, that's a simple way to do it, but yes, bump up your D3, bump up your zinc, bump up your glutamine, retest your results in 6 weeks or more. Okay, Nikki's up next. Hi there. I've had a tension headache symptoms, but I feel like it might be TMJ. I'm sure you've answered this in the past, so if you could direct me to the episodes to listen to, that would be great. I was having trouble locating it. Also, not necessary to read on your podcast, but I'm just want to give you a huge thank you. We have never met or spoken, but I really do feel a genuine thoughtfulness and care from you, and I'm so appreciative for this. I think many listeners probably feel this way, and it's very special and rare to make that kind of a connection. A million thank yous to you and your team from the bottom of my healthy gut. That's great. And of course, I'm going to read that over the air, over the podcast, because that's why I do what I do, right? I don't ever want to have to charge for this type of information. I want to give you the information free that you would typically have to pay for an ebook, a seminar, a workshop, a certification, whatever it might be. Like, that's my goal. That's my job. And really, in return, what would I like? I would like it to work for you. I would like to hear your success story. I would like you to share that then. I would like you to share this knowledge with others. That's it. And that's really what I want. Again, I didn't make up this information. It's not mine to hold on to. It's mine to give away. It's mine to give back. And really, if you give it then to someone else, if you share it with someone else, then we're all doing our part. We're all doing our job. So thanks, Nikki. And I will absolutely be able to help you with this question. So I've never answered TMJ in depth. So why don't we answer that today? I've answered headaches quite in depth. So you know what? Actually, that's important. Let me link up the show notes right now for our episodes on headaches. So, you have to check out episode 445. That's an absolute must. So, episode 445 and 241. I'm going to go with 445. And then second best would be 221. Oh, one more is 492. Okay. 445, 492, and 221. We'll be sure to link those up in the show notes. So just go today to stephencabral.com/513. All right. But let's talk about TMJ in general. Like, maybe this is TMJ, what is TMJ? For those people who don't know, I'm just throwing around some initials here. It is temporomandibular joint. That's what the joint that it's affecting. And essentially, let me explain this now in simple terms. That's right near your ear, okay? So think of it right near your earlobe. That jaw slides back and forth as we chew, okay? Now, also, if people are grinding their teeth at night, they can wake up with that jaw pain as well. That's a sign that you might have stress, lowered magnesium, can't really calm down at night, and you're really eroding away the disc in that TMJ-based joint, okay? And the symptoms, though, can show up as inflammation, tenderness in the jaw when you chew, aching pain, almost feels like maybe an earache, any type of facial pain, it can radiate down your jaw. Why TMJ? Why might you be getting this? Well, food sensitivities is a big one. So gluten-based sensitivities, dairy-based sensitivities, I'd highly recommend a food sensitivity test. You can simply do the blood drop test that we recommend. So important, because that's from an IgG perspective, which means that you eat the food, but the TMJ symptoms come about a day or two later. Really hard to figure that out on your own. What else is very, very effective? Well, oil pulling seems to help. Acupressure and acupuncture seem to help. Doing a heavy metal detox. So we'll link up the heavy metal detox as well, because heavy metals can cause that type of inflammation. Cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper does seem to help as well. So let me give you some other ones that I've seen work for my practice. Sometimes people are low in iodine. When you increase your iodine, like in our daily thyroid support, which has iodine, that seems to help, or using Lugol's iodine. Low magnesium. Using magnesium at least before bed, 200, 300 milligrams right before bed minimum is a good place to start. I also recommend not sleeping on the side if it's just one side with the TMJ-based pain. And then, of course, doing the food sensitivity testing, or at least using an anti-inflammatory nutrition plan, such as the one with our Dr. Ball Detox. So I know that's going to get you started without a doubt. And then also listen to episode 445 and 492 on other reasons for headaches or tension. Okay? All right. Sarah is up next. Her question says, EMF radiation. How important is it we acknowledge this, stay away from it? How can we stay safe, and how can we help our bodies deal with it since it's impossible to avoid? Please explain the dangers of EMF radiation as well. Do these bracelets help? Thank you. Okay. So shungite bracelets, I don't know what those are. I'm not sure if those help, but what I'm going to do is explain what EMF bracelets are and also say that this is in part 1 as well of my new upcoming book. So very few people know about EMF and the radiation that's caused by EMF. So why don't I share a little bit of that with you right now and let the cat out of the bag a little bit. So in my book, it's called Electrosmog. And so basically, it's electromagnetic frequencies. All right, these are EMFs. They are all around us in the environment, especially those of us who live in the city. Why? Okay, EMFs are coming from computers, Wi-Fi, modems, cell phone towers, our cell phones themselves. Anything that emits a frequency. So electromagnetic frequencies. That means wireless alarm clocks, wireless weather-based gadgets in our home, all of those things. And what do? Well, they can lead to mitochondrial dysfunction, an actual change in our DNA and not for the better, disturbances in the bacteria in our gut, communications with cell-to-cell frequency, and even leading to cancer. So this is a real issue, one that very few people are talking about because the repercussions are, well, what do? I mean, we're not going to get rid of our cell phones, right? But the anxiety, the depression, the irregular heartbeats, the swollen lymph nodes, all of these things are being related literally to EMF frequencies, or electromagnetic frequencies. They've done cell phone studies now. Those that are closest to cell phones are more susceptible to cancer. Like it's this massive thing. And now we're using a lot of wireless-based headphones. And the wireless-based headphones are leading to more tumors, cancer growths in the brain. So it's kind of like we need to stay wired when possible. If we can shut off our modem at night, even better. At least turn your phone to airplane mode if it's going to stay beside your bed. But the big thing too, and I talk about this in my book, is smart meters. They're attaching these electric meters, so it reads your electricity for your house, but they're wireless. But not only that, they're beaming from one house to the next house to the next house until finally they get to the station or the truck as it drives by. So you can actually request to not have a smart meter, as they call it, or you could put an EMF mat over your meter. Now, would that not allow your electrical company to get your reader reading? Most likely, yes, but I think that's well within your rights. They would have to come by and then just actually read your meter by hand, and that's what they used to do in the past. So talk about that a lot in my book, and I give some recommendations. My big thing is that this is one, just like you said, you're absolutely correct, Sarah, that we're not going to be able to get rid of it, but what we can do are use things, I think the bracelets is probably what you're referring to, trying to get more negative ions into our body. So doing some grounding, things like the salt lamps, which is, it helps a little bit. Every little bit helps. Using things like greens powders, using things like lemon water, doing detoxes, trying to do isolation-based things and trying to get out into nature, all of those things will help. And then again, as I said, trying to limit your EMF exposure. What does that mean? Well, trying to do non-wireless devices as much as possible. When you're talking on a headset, try to make it a wired headset. When you're going to bed at night, at least you can get 8 hours of sleep with no EMS if you turn off your modem. If you put your everything on non-Wi-Fi, basically, that will help tremendously. Okay, Rebecca is up next, and believe it or not, Rebecca's our last question. She writes in, "Hello, I'm so grateful for this podcast. I've written in several times and appreciate each and every answer you've given me. What you're doing is truly amazing, so thank you. I took an IgG food sensitivity test and found out that I'm intolerant to a disturbingly amount of foods and very healthy foods such as sweet potatoes, mushrooms, beans, eggs, ginger, kale, collards, turmeric, just to name a few. I've had so many issues with my stomach and esophagus, but never have issues with diarrhea or constipation. The main issues being nausea, reflux, indigestion, burping, as it's very worst, my left upper abdominal area will hurt so bad, swell, and I will vomit for a full day. The pain and nausea in the area is worse, and I've actually vomited at times. I'm staying away from acidic foods as well as large portions. Anything more than that than a cup will give me pain." Okay, I don't need to read the rest of this question because it seems like I know what's going on here. To me, it seems like you have an underlying H. pylori infection. Now, I answered this in depth on last weekend's Cabral House Call. I'm pretty sure I did. Yes, episode 506. So please just go back to stephencabral.com/506. I gave all the recommendations for foods to stay away from for an H. pylori infection. I talked about how H. pylori, basically it's a bacteria inside the gut. You can get it from a salad bar. You can get it from different types of meat like beef or pork. You get it from many, many different areas and foods and unclean utensils and anything like that. And what happens is it starts to eat up and use your hydrogen as part of hydrochloric acid, so hydrochloric acid. And so what happens is you're not able to break down your proteins as well. So for right now, you have to go on a just easier to digest protein diet. Smoothies will certainly help. And what I'd like you to do is not use things like hydrochloric acid because you'll only be feeding the H. pylori. I would use a product that we recommend, which is called Healthy Belly. Yes, Healthy Belly. So I would use Healthy Belly in conjunction with the Healthy Gut Support. Now, I would use Healthy Belly 1 capsule in the morning when you wake up and 1 capsule before bed. If that too makes you nauseous, I would take it with breakfast and I would take it with dinner. So this is going to help to eradicate the H. pylori bacteria. It's going to be using berberine. It's going to be using mastica gum, zinc, and a few other products that are absolutely phenomenal. It's worked great for the people that I've seen. If it still persists, I would certainly use that along with the candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol. It's phenomenal. It really is fantastic. It will lead to the non-fermentation of food in your gut, and that is what I would recommend for you. So tune back into 506 for all the details on the H. pylori infection and how it's very, very overlooked. I mean, it honestly is, because sometimes it's very hard to figure out and find on a stool test, and it's hard to find on a endoscopy as well if it's not active. Like at that moment, if it's not active, very hard to find, but you seem to have all the symptoms of it. So, and then also, I mean, really, so I would do the Healthy Gut Support as well, or the gut rebuilding protocol for you, because you're reacting to all sorts of healthy foods, which most likely means you have intestinal permeability or leaky gut. So if you want to be able to eat those foods again, we have to rebuild your digestive system. So what I would do is the gut rebuilding protocol. I would use that Healthy Gut Support or the Healthy Belly, like I said, and I would do the Candida protocol most likely just to kind of start from the basics and rebuild your gut back up. I hope that helps. If you want definitive answers, you can always do our stool test. Our stool test comes with H. pylori testing, and it also tests for parasites as well. So Rebecca, hopefully that helps. Hopefully it moves you in the right direction. Thank you everyone who tuned in to this weekend's Cabral House Calls. Really enjoy and really grateful to be able to answer all of your questions. And I look forward to tomorrow's Motivation and Mindset Monday. Don't miss it. Take care. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.